All right, so we're going to get all this data collected, right? We need to do something with it. We hear about big data, big data, big data. We've been talking about it forever. We didn't know it was called big data until the last couple of years. But, we knew that the promise, and still know that the promise of, big data is huge. I believe that long term, the most value of everything we're doing is going to come out of the analytical side of things from the use of large aggregated data sets. But it's going to take a while to kind of run that those adoption curves that we talked about earlier. And it's really hard to go from where we are right now all the way to the end. And not just from a technical standpoint, but also a comfort level of around data access and security and sharing and all of those issues. So this year, we've taken a major step, though, down this path with a product called SST Analytics. This is a web-based solution that management within your organizations can have access to log in and see activity from across the SST system. So looking at some of the things that are in there, this is looking at your customer base. Right side got all of the field boundaries that are in your system, and on the left side it's showing all of the counties that those boundaries exist in and what your market penetration is in those counties. And that's being measured against what the USDA says is planted in that county. And if you click on a county, and it's all dynamic, so if I click on a county, it's going to zoom in to that county and just show field boundaries that are in that county. And because this is your data, this is your company data and your customers, you can see the growers, the grower names, the farms, the field locations, and so on. And I guess I'll stop right there for a second and say that, since the beginning of Summit and FarmRight and so on, we've had the same stance we do today around data ownership and administration and so on, which is that we know we don't own the data. We don't know exactly who does own the data, but we know, and the way we treat it is that you put data into our system, you're the administrator of that data, and you control access to it and so on. So if you is the farmer and the farmer's importing that in, well, then the farmer's in control of who has access to that data, who he shares it with, and so on. If it's the agronomist importing the data in, that's who is the administrator in the system until they give those admin rights to somebody else. And that's important. And in a lot of cases, it's the service provider, the trusted service provider that the farmer's giving the data to manage it on their behalf, right? And so the data that we're talking about seeing here is data that you have access to in your organization. It's either that your employees have entered or that the farmer has shared with you digitally through an AgX connection. So this is looking at performance, yield performance. Now this is subset to the fields that have yield data and planting data on them, and I can see all of the counties that those fields fall into, and I also am getting, based on the colors on the left, I can see whether my customers outperformed that county average or not. So if they're green, they outperformed the county average. If they're gray, they were basically county average. If they're red, my customer in this case was below the county average, or customers. Right? Again, you can subset this by each county, and you've got grower names over here on the right side and so on. We can take that another step and get into yield and hybrid performance as well. So, this is grayed out for anonymity reasons here on the left, but that left side is a list of hybrids, right side's a list of soil types, and that can be switched between texture and taxonomic classes. All right, so sometimes you don't want to look at just the soil type, you want to get higher up into the taxonomic classes so that you can compare across state borders and so on. As the user that's working with this selects a soil type on the right, it subsets to just the hybrids that were on that soil type, and vice versa. This is another look at the same kind of thing, where now we've got all of the hybrids up at the top bubble chart, The farther right they are, the higher yielding. The higher up they are and the larger the circle, the more acreage they were on. And then down in the bottom are all of the soil types, or in this case, it's set on soil texture. You can interact with those bubbles, and as you click on one of those, it's going to change the other chart to reflect, only the soil types that hybrid is on, and so on. You can pick an individual grower, and I think this one here shows the most promise and kind of gives the most insight into where this kind of thing is going. In that you can go in here and pick a grower or all the way down to an individual field and see what soil types are on that field, and see that, oh, hey, there's this, silt loam soil type on 60% of this field. When you click that, it's going to go back and hit the larger aggregated data set and return hybrids on that soil type. So you can have a conversation with the grower about his soil types and use the anonymized aggregated data to infer decisions about what you should be doing in that local field. Right? And this is just soil type. I know that's not enough. We'll build this out over time. But this is a great tool to put in the hands of the agronomist out there to start working with growers on, and for some management level people and so on to have some insights into the data collected within the organization. Multi-year hybrid data review, you can look at some of your employee stuff, some planting metrics and so on. You can, this is kind of a new thing, but being able to look at crop breakdown, seeding rate breakdown by your customers' data and that kind of thing. So we're putting this out there with our FarmRight customers today. We're doing it very cheaply. Encourage you guys to take a look at it, get on board with us here, help us figure this out. And look, Drew said something earlier that was very good, that we don't think a computer system is going to replace an agronomist anytime soon. I mean, I don't know if ever, and sure as hell not anytime soon. Right? We really believe in that trusted advisor relationship. We are not interested in going around you guys to the grower. We want to put tools like this in your hands to enhance the relationship, to give you more information, to make a recommendation. Nobody's going to build some model off of this data anytime soon that's going to do a better job than you agronomists that are, university-trained professional agronomists that live in the area, that know these farms. You guys know how to make a recommendation a lot better than some computer system is going to. But the more data we can give you to back those things up, to validate, the better. Right? So, what this really is today, this is a first step. Right? This is hopefully getting the light switch to turn on for us and you and everybody to see the possibilities. And we need you to engage with us on this. Help us figure out where to take this product. I think this data will become very important in everything that you do out there. This will affect your fertility recommendations and your seed recommendations and the other things that you're doing to engage with the farmer. But it's going to start here, and let's figure it out together, all right?